What's going on, guys? So today I wanted to try a little something different. Usually when I do my breakdowns, I do a lot of typing, a lot of writing, kind of blog format. Today I want to do a Corbin Martin breakdown and use mostly visual and audio, and in hopes to have more people kind of attentive to it, kind of get something out of it. So this is me adapting. Anyways, Corbin Martin, for you guys who don't know, he made his Major League debut yesterday on Mother's Day. Texas A&M product, literally drafted 2017. First full season was last year. Now he's in the big leagues. A couple things just by watching the game really stuck out to me was obviously the four-seam fastball. I think it's a really, really good pitch, and he really showcased it yesterday. And I kind of want to take a little deeper dive into the analytics. I know I had Brandon Bailey on the podcast. I'll link that into the post itself if you guys want to check that out. But he's another Houston Astros product, and he kind of talks about how the Houston Astros really like, you know, the data analytics side of it, and implementing that into their player development protocols. And it's funny, man, like just watching a guy like Corbin Martin yesterday. I mean, it really shows how all of these, you know, the StatCast, the PitchFX, the TrackMans, Rapsodo, like all of these means and all these tools can be really of value, you know, for the player development side. So just taking a deeper dive, like I said, the thing that stuck out was the four-seam fastball for me. He threw 51 of them yesterday, and he averaged 95.7 miles per hour, which nowadays, I guess for a starter, is decent, right? I mean, it's 2 above average. A cool thing that stuck out to me was his ability to reach back for more. So he threw 14 fastballs in 2-strike counts, and those fastballs in particular averaged around 97 miles per hour. Going into a deeper dive into the analytics of the four-seam was, you know, he spins it at 2411, so 2,411 RPMs, which kind of, again, puts him, I would say, above average. Obviously, we know that MLB average spin is 2285, which, as a guy, like, you don't want to be in that dead zone unless you can do something with your, you know, efficiency or your axis to offset the common pattern that hitters see. So looking at his four-seam fastball still, we're looking at a 9.2 vertical movement, which would put him in the top 15 amongst MLB starters. Basically, his four-seam fastball is staying true, staying on that plane. You see guys like Verlander who are up towards like 11 with that vertical movement number, which is obviously tops in baseball. That's where you get that riding four-seam fastball effect. And he's a 6'2" guy, and his vertical release is 6.15, which that's pretty average. I want to take a deeper dive into like his extension and stuff like that, because his perceived velo is 94-91. So that tells me that it's a little bit under his actual velo. So I'm assuming the way that they take their perceived velocity has to do with taking MLB average. And this is me assuming. Don't take this as an absolute, but taking the actual velo and then looking at the extension for a guy like of his stature. Or maybe they just take the average stature. I'm not sure. Like I said, his average perceived velo is 90.91, which is obviously under the 95.7. And the way that they get the perceived velocity, I can't even freaking talk. The way they get that stat is the actual velocity, and then they look at the extension of at ball release, right? So what the hitter's perceiving. The max spin that he had, you'll see that in this clip, 95.64. Again, that's good, right? Like, we all want a above average spinning fastball, I think, if we are four-seam guys, and his vertical movement definitely kind of plays into that. Another thing that jumped out to me when I was really diving into it was his axis of the ball. So if you see here, I don't want to overcomplicate it too much, but a true four seam obviously spins with 100% efficiency, right? So 100% efficiency on a four seam fastball is spinning with a 180-degree axis. And like I talked about in the Mike Fiers no-hitter breakdown, was when you look at a true 12-6 curveball, it's the opposite of 180, which is a 0-degree axis, right? So 12-6 is 0, and then you think about like 6-12, 180 degrees. So anytime that you look at a pitcher's spin axis, you see, is it close to 180? Because that's true 100% spin efficiency, which also will give it that perceived ride factor, right? So this, again, this plays into his total pitch profile of his four-seam fastball, which, again, that number of the vertical movement, 9.2, his spin axis is actually 198 degrees, so 18 degrees off 180, which is pretty good. Again, you can just tell by the way he throws it, and a couple of the slow-mo release points at ball release, you can see that he's staying true with that, which again plays into the total pitch profile of that pitch. What is the hitter perceiving? You know, pitch profile deception, something that I talked about in that Mike Fiers breakdown as well. All things that you kind of look at to see, okay, why are these hitters, you know, swinging at high fastballs, swinging and missing at high fastballs? Why are they swinging at that? Why are they swinging at that? For me, it goes back to the pitch profile deception.